the contenders. From the USA, Dave Waddington, one of America's top-line powerlifters. From the Netherlands, Ab Wolders, who's currently Holland's strongest man. From Kenya, Puis Ochieng, one of his country's best-ever Olympic lifters. From Iceland, the showman Jon-Pall Sigmarsson, last year's runner-up. Canada's representative is Poulin, arm wrestler and professional strongman. West Germany competing in the massive shape of champion lifter Rudi Kuester. From Sweden and on home ground, jazz-loving powerlifter Yngve Gustavsson. And from Britain, the man they'll all have to beat, Geoff Capes, currently the world's strongest man. And we, like the competitors, have travelled to a wintry Sweden and a place called Mora, a round-the-year holiday resort in the Sicilian region, 150 snowy miles northeast of Stockholm. Every year, Mora is the destination for skiers, hikers and climbers from all over Europe. It's famous for hosting the Vassalon, the international cross-country ski race. In 1985, Mora is a busy, modern place, but it still retains many attractive features from the past, like this handsome steam engine, once the main link to the outside world. The whole area is dominated by Lake Sicilian, created when a meteorite struck the region 300 million years ago, which, like the rest of Mora, is frozen over right now. And the first event for the Daft Trucks Trophy is, quite naturally, the truck pull. 2 8-ton trucks there, so the strongmen will be competing in pairs. They'll be pulling these trucks along 30 metres of icy, snowy ground. The conditions are very, very cold. It's minus 10 degrees centigrade at the moment. We've already cleared away inches of snow from the track, but I don't think conditions have ever been quite so tough for a pulling event. And first away, it's Jon-Pall Sigmarsson, the blonde giant from Iceland, and he's taking on this man, Poulin, a bulldozer driver from Quebec. It's going to be hard getting a grip on this snowy ground with 8 tons of truck to pull, but Jon-Pall is getting off now to a very quick start. But Poulin just can't get going. Maybe he could do with his bulldozer to help right now, but yes, I think he is moving now as the wheels are turning. Sigmarsson's steaming ahead, though. He's setting a cracking challenge to the rest of the strongmen. And that's the time to beat, 33 seconds. Jon-Pall very happy about this. An amazing time considering the very difficult conditions. Were you slipping a lot?
Yes. My last few meters, I was slipping a lot.
I suppose with coming from Iceland, this sort of condition is much better for you than for most of the other competitors.
Yes, but in Iceland now we have the best weather in Europe, so...
Poulin is still towing that truck home, taking a time of 1 minute and 20 seconds. Daniel is not pleased about that. He's come from Quebec for this contest. He's a new boy in this big league, and he desperately wants to do well. On now to Heat 2. The lanes, by the way, are chosen at the toss of a coin. On the left, it's Geoff Capes, and on the right, the American Dave Waddington. And both men really struggling to get a start there. Dave Waddington sliding all over the place. Capes is underway, though. Big Geoff loves this type of event. He always does well in them. Waddington's truck might seem to be hard to get going, but in fact the vehicles are identical. They've been checked by experts, and Waddington now has got the thing moving. Geoff Capes steaming ahead, yet he's going slower than Sigmarsson. The current world champion could be beaten at his best event. 38 seconds, that's 5 seconds slower than Sigmarsson. What an upset right at the start for Geoff Capes. And here's Dave Waddington coming up to the finishing line after 30 punishing, slippery meters. 58 seconds for Waddington after that bad start, and the contest certainly hasn't started too well for Geoff Capes either. 38 seconds, Geoff.
Very poor.
5 seconds slower than Jon-Pall.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
Why do you reckon you were so slow?
I don't really know. I'm dumbfounded. Still, there's always a time to get beat, and he's done it in the best event, huh? Very strange.
Well, not everybody is too worried about Geoff's performance as we move on to Heat 3 of the truck tow. And it's Puis Ochieng from Kenya, the shortest and lightest man, taking on the local hero, Yngve Gustavsson, a security guard from Stockholm. Now remember, each of these trucks weighs 8 tons, and hard-packed snow is a surface that's never been used before in this competition. But Puis Ochieng is getting a good foothold now. He's only 5.5 feet tall and 15.5 stone. That's pretty small by strongman standards. He's 25, he lives in Nairobi, and he's Kenya's outstanding Olympic-style powerlifter. Well, Yngve Gustavsson used to be a sprinter at school, and now he's trying to sprint and pull a truck at the same time. He's doing well, though, but he's a much slower man than Ochieng. Puis got into a good towing action there, almost strolling to the finishing line, and he gets there in 47 seconds, I make it. And Yngve Gustavsson marches in. This time, 1 minute and 16 seconds. Did you find it very difficult with the snow and the ice?
Oh yeah, I'm freezing, and all what I want to do is put as much pressure as I can wherever it's possible.
Are you at all used to these sort of conditions for athletics?
Not really. This is my first time to experience such weather.
Now the fourth and final heat, and it's Ab Wolders of Holland, a great all-rounder among strongmen, against the rising star Rudi Kuester from West Germany.
Ready?
This is a tussle between two of the biggest, the most evenly matched men in the championship. Ab Wolders keeping low, he's got a good technique there, getting off to a great start. In fact, this heat is between the two men who came equal second in the contest to find Europe's strongest man in Holland a few months ago. Kuester finding it hard to get going, but Ab Wolders powering his way to the line to finish in 35 seconds. So that puts him into second place. Geoff Capes drops down to third. A great effort by Wolders. And Rudi Kuester, the postal worker from Kassel in Germany, hits the line after 55 seconds. As Ab gets checked by his coach, and Rudi gets up from the snow, here's Geoff Capes pondering his performance.
38 seconds to me is an eternity, and it's very strange to go so slow. And but the timekeepers assure me that the clocks were correct. I thought they'd probably frozen up, but they said it was right. So they're the judges, and the result obviously stands. First Sigmarsson, second Wolders, at this moment third me, and then the Kenyan in fourth place. So already the competition is open, and where people like myself thought they'd do very well in their best event, I'm in third position. So already the tables are topsy-turvy after the first event.
Well, I hope that lone skier there and all the other people up on the slopes have been warned to stay well clear now, because the strongmen are about to start throwing their weight around. This is a land of pine forest, so there's been no difficulty at all in finding the vital ingredient for the next event, a caber. Tossing the caber is as traditional a sport in the Northlands of Sweden as it is in the Highlands of Scotland. And this particular caber, well, it weighs about 36 kilos, that's about 80 pounds. It's about 5 meters long, and the strongmen have to throw it as far as they can. Well, here's the course, cleared and flattened and marked out, and let's catch up on the highlights of what's been happening. Daniel Poulin has never done this event before. His best throw was 8.25 meters, just over 27 feet. Another newcomer, Puis Ochieng, managed just over 22 feet, 6.73 meters. Here's Yngve Gustavsson to throw. And he fails because the caber must somersault end over end. Rudi Kuester did better than most of the newcomers to timber throwing. He did 10.5 meters, 34.5 feet. And the caber getting a bit of attention, a bit of de-icing there. And we join the action with Dave Waddington to throw. So far, his best was 15.18 meters. That's nearly 50 feet. And Dave, incidentally, came third in the world's strongest man contest in 1981. And it's a good one. It somersaulted right over, sliding along the snow. It's just a couple of inches short of his best throw. And now it's the last throw for Geoff Capes, vastly experienced in this event, a star of many a Highland Games. And it must be his best yet here at Mora. 16 meters 75, but Geoff seems a little anxious. I don't think he's too pleased about the way things are going for him. Ab Wolders gets help from the two officials who are there to position the caber for the strongmen. Ab openly admits that this is not his favourite event. His best throw here so far, 40 feet. The snow, as you can see, is falling heavily now. That's not helping, and it's still bitterly cold. And it's on its end, and it's over. Ab will be happier about that one. 13 metres 50, that's 44 1/4 feet. But he seems to have hurt his hand. Not too badly, though. As Sigmarsson gets ready for his final throw, how does Geoff rate him in this event?
John was up in Scotland last year, and unfortunately we taught him how to toss the caber, and he's becoming more efficient all the time. And in fact, he's very good. Again, I think you know, he's the sort of guy who'll go on and keep learning and learning and learning until he's unbeatable.
Well, let's see if he's unbeatable now. He's already thrown 60 metres 65, 54 1/2 feet. Can the pupil beat the master? And that's a tremendous throw. They'll be proud of him in Scotland.
With his second throw, Sigmarsson sets a new world record. 17 metres 29 centimetres.
So a new world record for Jon-Pall, 56 feet 9 inches, and that gives him 8 points, one more than his Highland Games mentor, Geoff Capes. Dave Waddington, who says he's still getting over jet lag, picks up 6 useful points there, but it's the Icelanders' event.
Well, congratulations, Jon-Pall, on breaking a new world record.
Thank you.
Do you normally throw the caber?
No, I don't. I did last summer in Scotland, but not for distance. Just turn over 12 o'clock.
For the accuracy of the toss, really?
Yeah.
And have you done a lot of training for this championship?
I'm always training a lot. Always. Not especially for World's Strongest Man. Just for myself.
And how important is it to you to win this competition?
I want to be the king of the competition. Always.
Well, he is the king so far, 2 wins in a row with a maximum 16 points. And the present title holder, Geoff Capes, is already 3 points behind. Watch out, though, for that trio of Wolders, Waddington and Kuester. They won't let Sigmarsson or Capes get away with anything.
Well, in this place, it's Christmas every day of the year, even when the sun is here in the summertime, because they've just built a place called Tomteland, which means Santaland, and it's now the new official home of Father Christmas.
And his reindeers are here as well, kept in a special pen behind Santa's house. This picturesque building is Santa's toy factory, where all kinds of gifts connected with the famous man are on show. And we're going inside that factory now for our next event. We've taken over the workshop for a while, and some of Santa's staff are watching. But no way could this lineup be regarded as Santa's little helpers.
Well, this log fire has been helping to warm us all up after the Arctic conditions outside, but our strongmen have got another way of hotting up as well. It's the rock lift, and it's a pure test of brute strength.
And what makes this extra difficult is the rocks are any old shape, and they're awkward to handle. So what's Geoff's technique?
I just think you've just got to get it up there and pray, basically, because people might say, well, I can press 300 pound on a bar. But the bars don't come into it at all because it's a small piece of rock. You have a very narrow push position. You're not getting a bar, which is ideal. You've got a bar and you can use your own grip and push easily. But this is a very strongman event.
And here's the would-be king of the strongmen, Jon-Pall Sigmarsson, the young pretender, making a bid for Capes' crown. And Sigmarsson makes it look like a piece of cake. In round 3, this is what's been happening. Wolders, Sigmarsson and Capes have all lifted 100 kilos. Ochieng has failed, and the only man still left to attempt this weight is Rudi Kuester.
100 kilos, Rudi Kuester.
Rudi's currently 5th overall, so he really needs to build up some points now. Well, apart from heaving rocks around, Rudi's other interests include microelectronics and computers. In fact, he's taught himself the basics of several languages on a computer the size of a wristwatch. He's got it onto his chest. Now, can he lock those arms out above his head? No, that 100-kilo rock was just too much for Rudi Kuester. He was second in the European powerlifting competition a little while ago, but these jagged and unbalanced lumps of local stone have beaten him. It was a brave and a very painful effort, though. The doctor just checking Rudi. I don't think it's serious, just a nasty graze. So, as a new and heavier rock is manhandled onto the rostrum, it takes 2 lesser mortals. There are only 3 left: Wolders, Sigmarsson and Capes.
At 110 kilos, Geoff Capes.
Geoff doesn't like to be trailing in any kind of competition, let alone in one where last time he was on top. Now here's Ab Wolders from Holland at 110 kilos, psyching himself up for the big lift, preparing his body to take on this huge chunk of rock. And now he's got to get that boulder up above his head. He rests it for a while, letting the cranium to restrain him. Quite locked out. No, they weren't. So Ab goes out. He's achieved 3rd place and 6 very useful points. And now Jon-Pall Sigmarsson. Jon-Pall calling on the Nordic gods for a bit of help. And like Ab, he's also using the head technique. Yes, it's a good lift for this 25-year-old Icelander. And he acknowledges the cheers of his fans. So, as the weight goes up to 115 pounds, there's just Jon-Pall and Geoff Capes to back it out. Appreciating this great sportsman. And Sigmarsson, ever the showman, seems to be thoroughly enjoying this event as well. But can he stay with Capes? Absolute concentration as he prepares for that lockout up above. Yes, he's done it. And it's body beautiful time. So the pair are still deadlocked with only 2 rocks left. It's time for tactics. What's Geoff's plan?
What weight next?
Well, I think it's a gamble, basically, because there's only 2 of us left, and the points difference is 1. So I'm going to try the 130, obviously. I don't know whether it's possible, but obviously I'm going to try. And John's opted for 125.
Is that not a bit of a risk, 130? You might damage yourself.
Everything's a risk. The whole competition's a risk. Not physically, but taking chances where chances occur.
125 kilos, Jon-Pall Sigmarsson.
So Jon-Pall playing it safe, trying for the 125. Now taking a big chance. He's turned down the 125 rock and he's going straight for the 130.
If he lifts this, it'll be a tremendous psychological victory over Sigmarsson. If he fails, Jon-Pall wins the event. What a show. Capes indicates that's enough. His gamble wouldn't pay off, and for Sigmarsson, the nightclub bouncer from Reykjavik, it's 3 wins in a row. So Geoff Capes having to be satisfied once again to come second to Sigmarsson. Ab Wolders still looking very much in contention with 6 points, and little Puis Ochieng and Rudi Kuester sharing 4th position. But it's maximum points for the Icelander. In the last 2 years of these competitions, you've really sort of grown in size and stature, haven't you? Have you done a lot of effort to build your body up?
Yes. I've been training many sports like karate, and where I have some spirit. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a boxer or the strongest man in the world.
Do you think you're going to be the strongest man in the world?
Maybe I can be strongest man of this competition.
Maybe, but not if Capes and the rest of the lads can stop him. Here's the overall scoreboard after 3 events, and Sigmarsson has almost twice as many points as Kuester, who's lying 4th. Gustavsson and Poulin are getting left behind. Well, we've come outside again now into the cold and the snow and the dark for an event which features the famous Dala wooden horses of this particular region of Sweden, the Siljan region. They've been carved by local people here for more than 100 years now. They're very distinctive in their looks, and they've become one of the national symbols of Sweden. And the particular horse that the strongmen are going to lift now is this one. It weighs 25 kilos, that's about 56 pounds. And if you think that's not very heavy, it's about the same weight as this young lady here, 10-year-old Sora Bud, who lives in this part of Sweden, and she weighs about 4 stone. So imagine holding 4 stone out in front of you. There is one compensation, though, for the strong men. Whoever holds this up for the longest gets to keep it as a gift from the local people. Some of the locals are braving temperatures of -16 to watch this event, though not all of them can keep their eyes open. As we join the contest, it's the turn of the local man Yngve Gustavsson. Quite an entrance.
Go!
Well, the rules of this event are very simple. His shoulders and backside must stay up against the post, and his arms must stay at 90 degrees. And the clock goes on as the pain starts building up all around his arms and his shoulders and down his back. And no more, says Yngve. 26 seconds is his time. The horse gets a friendly pat, but I don't think he'll be taking it home. And now Geoff Capes takes that position. He damaged a muscle in his right shoulder some years ago, so he doesn't look forward at all to this event, but he needs the points to catch Sigmarsson. And already the weight of that horse is beginning to tell, and that's the time he has to beat. No, it's gone. And that obviously hurt Geoff, but he didn't expect to do well. Now the turn of Holland's strongest man, Ab Wolders, who has performed so well in this event in previous contests. He must be a favourite tonight.
Go!
Ab's a really determined man, and he's trained very, very hard for this contest. And this is a good time indeed. He's already 10 seconds ahead of Gustavsson, and his cool, iron-willed Dutchman keeps on going, battling against the pain. And that's the best time yet, 46 seconds for Ab Wolders, and it's going to take something very special to stop that horse from going to Holland. Only 2 more to go, and here's Rudi Kuester from West Germany. Now, Rudi wasn't at all happy in this event during the European competition, so let's see what happens tonight.
46 seconds to beat, and he's looking very determined and very powerful. And that's it. 34 seconds, a creditable time, but not a winning one. Now to the last man, who also happens to be an overall lead so far in this World Championship, Jon-Pall Sigmarsson. Can he make it 4 wins in a row?
I'm going to win. I came here to win.
He came here to win, he says, but will he be able to beat Ab Wolders' time of 46 seconds? He's already beaten Kuester's time, but he's 6 seconds short of Wolders, making it Sigmarsson's worst result so far, a mere 2nd place. Ahead of him was Ab Wolders with that remarkable 46-second hold. Kuester did better than expected, picking up 6 valuable points, but a bad result for Geoff Capes. Down there in the bottom half of the table, only 3 points. This was Wolders' triumph.
Ab, you must be very pleased at the end of the first day, your first win.
Yes, I needed it for my confidence, and I knew I was good in this event. And they told us that if I won, the winner could take the horse home. And I wanted to take the horse.
What are you going to do with it?
I give it to my son. I got a son of 8, and he would be pleased with it.
And you're pleased as well because you've knocked Geoff Capes into 3rd place.
Yeah, and I took some points off Jon-Pall Sigmarsson, and that's on this moment number 1. So you always have to look at number 1. But he will come tomorrow.
So you're looking forward to tomorrow?
Yes, that should be my day.
But today has unquestionably belonged to Sigmarsson. 3 wins and a 2nd place put him 5 points ahead of Ab Wolders, who's looking more threatening with every event. And it's really these two who are standing between Geoff Capes and his title. Well, they do say that music has charms to soothe the savage hearts. Here's some traditional folk music at the end of a very hard day, and a welcome opportunity for competitors and fishers alike to relax and to put aside the worries of tomorrow. With true Swedish hospitality, the mayors and local dignitaries of the 5 communes of the Mora area are giving a party in honour of the competitors. Most convivial atmosphere, we can see the other side of the strongmen. There's plenty of good humour and rapport amongst these giants, and they've got no trouble in lifting the language barrier.
On behalf of the Siljan Group, representing the towns around the Lake Siljan and the city of Mora, I would like to wish you all very welcome to our part of the world.
And the world of the mayor of Mora is covered in snow for almost half the year. Skiers come here from all over Scandinavia, and it's getting increasingly popular with ski fans from many other parts of Europe as well. It's a wild and windswept place of great beauty, vast expanses of white hillsides and snow-dusted forests. In the whole of the Siljan region of central Sweden, there are only 20,000 people, so that's lots of room to spare, and those numbers are, of course, boosted by the thousands of visiting holidaymakers. When the snow melts, there's hiking and fishing and boating, and the area has thriving industries based on all the surrounding natural resources. Among the specialities of the Siljan area is this very fine glassware, famous for its use of colour and its dramatic designs. Much use is made of local timber for many of the buildings, and there's tradition everywhere you look, in the architecture and in the very atmosphere of the place. Perhaps it's the remoteness of these 5 communes around the Siljan lake that make the place so appealing. But the quietness of this snowbound lakeland has been interrupted temporarily by the arrival of some of the world's strongest men, about to start day 2 of their contest.
Well, Jon-Pall, yesterday was a great day for you. How do you feel this morning?
I'm feeling fine. A little bit stiff in the legs, but okay.
Did you sleep well?
Yes, but I didn't sleep until 2 o'clock in the night. You know, I tried to sleep. I tried and tried, but I was always doing the event when I was...
Were you still worrying about the events, were you? Thinking about how you'd done yesterday?
Yes.
Geoff Capes starting day 2, needing a big comeback if he's to keep his world title.
It was a good day yesterday, Ab. How do you feel this morning?
Good. I have a few hours sleep, and I'm not injuring myself. only have a Kirk Douglas cheer now from the rock lifting, but it went all right, so I feel fine.
And what about the prospects for today?
There are a few quick exercises over long distance, and because I'm one of the lightest of the boys, and I've trained on that event, I should do well.
Well, it's even colder today. It's minus 15 degrees centigrade at the moment. And to show you just how cold it is, that fountain there was frozen as the water fell. And I'm standing at the moment in the middle of a frozen lake. And this is going to be the setting for our next event, which should be one of the fastest ever by strongmen standards. It's the sleigh push. The course is 80 metres long. Each sleigh has 2 passengers and ballast to make up a total of 400 kilos. In Heat 1, the lineup is nearest the camera Ochieng, then Gustavsson, Kuester and Wolders.
Ready?
There are 2 heats, so it's the winners and the 2 fastest losers who qualify for the final. And it's Kuester on the left and Ab Wolders who are setting the pace. And Wolders is really going, he's pulling ahead. And he finishes first with Kuester second, Gustavsson third, and Puis Ochieng coming in way behind him fourth. Well, Ab Wolders' training for this event really paying dividends. His ever-present coach there, putting his jacket back on. 2 of the sledge passengers are keeping warm by dancing their way back to the start. And some of the younger spectators making friends there with a familiar local character. Heat 2, and the lineup is Sigmarsson, nearest the camera, Poulin from Canada, Waddington from America, and on the far side, Geoff Capes. And this is Geoff's eye view of the course.
Ready? Oh, yes!
And Poulin's made a very slow start there. Capes is just leading on the right from Waddington. But Jon-Pall is catching them first. Capes is winning. Who'll be second? And I think Jon-Pall just pipped Dave Waddington. And as we see it again, watch out for Sigmarsson as he literally throws the sledge at the finishing line and he beats Waddington by a reindeer's whisker. Confirmation on the board then, so remember it's the 2 heat winners and the 2 fastest losers overall who qualify for the final, so that means that Wolders, Capes, Sigmarsson and Waddington will be there. And Geoff Capes desperately needs a win to lift his morale. So this is how they're lining up for the final. Nearest the camera, Wolders, then Capes, Sigmarsson and Waddington.
Ready?
And already Capes and Sigmarsson pulling ahead. Geoff slightly in front there, but it's very, very close. And there's a triumph for Geoff Capes, the heaviest man in the contest and also the fastest. Sigmarsson second, Wolders third, and Waddington fourth. Well, this has been a spectacular new event in this contest to find the world's strongest man. And there's Dave Waddington getting treatment from the doctor. It must be due to gulping in this bitterly cold air so quickly into his lungs. Geoff Capes also having difficulty in breathing after the demanding race, but for the first time here in Sweden, he's won something. An amazing time of 16.9 seconds gives Capes 8 points. Sigmarsson comes second again, and there's consolation for the last 4 because they only had to run once. Geoff's the winner, but he's having to pay the price.
First day you're going to die.
Yeah. Can you describe how you feel?
Pain. Total commitment. A lot of pain.
All round the body, is it?
I think it's the breathing. It's so cold. You can't take in the correct amount of air without burning your chest. So cold.
But in spite of the conditions, that win will have cheered Geoff up considerably, and it's also put him back into contention again. He's only 1 point behind Wolders, but with 3 events left and 38 points scored so far, it's the man from Iceland still in a commanding lead. Well, these blocks were hewn from the ice on the frozen lake where we've just seen the sleigh push. And what happens now is that the competitors, in pairs, have got to carry these blocks. Each one weighs about 70 kilos, that's about 10 stone. There are 8 of these blocks altogether. Carry them across and dump them on the flatbed of this lorry. And it's against the clock. In this round, it's the German Rudi Kuester against the Swede Yngve Gustavsson, who dearly loved to win something in front of his home crowd.
Ready?
Stamina is what this event is all about. Now, these boys must keep momentum going, even though it means battling through the pain barrier. But at least the blocks are all the same shape, and they're reasonably easy to handle if you're a contender for the world's strongest man. If you're not, well, just forget it. Anyway, should they drop one of these ice blocks and smash it, well, they'd have to go back again and pick up another one. The crowd urging Yngve on, but he looks as though he's tiring. I bet he'll never take ice in anything again. And Rudi Kuester on his last block now. He's finishing as he started at a cracking pace. And his time was 56 seconds and no breakages. Leaping ahead now in time, and Gustavsson struggles in with his last block. It'll be a slow time, 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Now Ab Wolders on the left versus Sigmarsson on the right. And this promises to be very close because they're both immensely fast and very fit. They've started at a really furious pace. Wolders just ahead. And they're still almost neck and neck as Wolders reaches his final block. And that is a very fast time indeed, with Jon-Pall only just behind. A great performance by both of these great competitors.
Jon-Pall, were you surprised to be beaten by Ab in that heat?
You know, I can't be beaten. I'm not a Superman. I think Ab Wolders will be the fastest one. Maybe Geoff. He is in his best form now I've ever seen him.
And what about your prediction for the final result?
I'm looking forward to do the arm wrestling. I'm looking forward to be broken or broke somebody.
Seems like a nice boy. Now it's Capes versus Ochieng, the largest against the smallest. And as Geoff starts well, Puis is already in trouble getting to grips with that block. Now, this couldn't be a more uneven battle. Capes, with his strength and his size and experience. Ochieng, he's tiny by comparison, he's 8 stone lighter, and he's got no experience whatsoever in this kind of contest or in these kind of conditions. By the way, Daniel Poulin and Dave Waddington have already gone. Poulin completed in 1 minute and 6 seconds, but Waddington ran into a whole load of trouble and he had to retire. Well, Geoff's going well, but he's slower than Ab and Jon-Pall, and he's been unlucky with this draw. He'd have preferred to have been against one of the faster men who would have pushed him to his limits. Geoff now with his last block, his time 53.5 seconds. Puis is still struggling.
Okay, take it from the bottom. Come on. From the bottom.
That's it. And what a brave effort from the Kenyans. And it's Wolders' turn to come first again. Sigmarsson starting to get used to second place. And Geoff Capes, probably the best all-round athlete of the lot, gets another 6 points. Only 2 points for Puis Ochieng, but he deserves much more for sheer guts.
What did it feel like when you went back to get that 8th block?
All what I had to do is show everybody that I am a fighter. You see, when you're on the ring, you've got to keep going.
3/4 through the contest, and Sigmarsson maintains the lead he's had from the start. Ab Wolders could still beat him, but Geoff Capes needs a miracle now to retain his world title. And the rest of the field, well, they don't stand a chance, but they're enjoying themselves. And for a more traditional test of strength, we move back inside the toy factory for the bench press. Both the competitors and the crowd are very glad to be back in the warm again. And in this event, the strongmen lie on the floor and have to push heavy logs up above their chests. Their arms must lock out straight. They all lift lifted 200 kilos except for Ochieng and Poulin, and we join the event at the 210 kilo log with Kuester, having just failed.
At 210 kilos, Ab Wolders.
Now that line down the log indicates the point of balance, and there are no handles to grip with, just their bare hands. That's a good lift by Wolders. Next to go is Jon-Pall Sigmarsson. He's been really looking forward to this event, and his training program as one of America's top powerlifters should stand him in really good stead. And that's a good lift from the American. Next comes Geoff Capes.
Geoff Capes.
Looking as though he'll go a long way in this event. And now Yngve Gustavsson, still searching for an event in which he can shine. Wolders and Sigmarsson looking on intently because they all know there's a high injury risk in this event because of the lack of a grip on those logs. Can he knock out those arms? Nope, the log rolls forward. But he's trying again. Sadly, he's out of time, so now only 3 minutes.
Ab Wolders at 220 kilos. Ab Wolders.
Ab psyching himself up to really hate that leg. Oh, I think he's hurt his left wrist. Jon-Pall looks anxious. Is he still going to go on? It looks like it. No, that's it. He's not going to risk any further damage to his wrist. And at the same weight, Jon-Pall Sigmarsson. And that Swedish log is certainly getting an awful lot of Icelandic stick. No, it's roll forward. He's lining up again. But that's it. Wisely, Jon-Pall's not risking any injury that could put him out of the contest. But it could mean extra points for Geoff, because Jon-Pall might be content to share third place with Wolders. And now Dave Waddington, also at 220 kilos. There's just him and Geoff left.
Come on!
And Geoff is going into the unknown now for him. He's never before pressed this sort of weight. The sheer strength and determination is pushing Waddington all the way. So the 230 kilo log is lifted into position, just over 500 pounds there. This really is warming up.
Come on!
Geoff somehow find the technique and the strength to stay with Waddington. He's got to push up very nearly a quarter of a ton.
Come on, come on, yeah.
60 seconds.
Come on.
Waddington shouting encouragement. No, Geoff indicates that. Nevertheless, it was a fantastic performance to beat Wolders and Sigmarsson, Kuester and Gustavsson, all of them world-class lifters. But it's victory at last for Dave Waddington, the powerlifter from Sandusky, Ohio. So how hard did he find this event?
About 10 days ago, I did 585 for swing. I've done over 600 pounds, so I was probably the best bencher here, and I'm sure I could have probably done 100 more pounds. It seemed like they were getting easier. I was concentrating more, and the push was extremely, easy. Because I was, plus the reason I spit in my hands to stick a little. The resin and that.
I bet you wish this event had
just
been...
one event to go, this is the position. Sigmarsson from Iceland still on top, 5 points ahead of Ab Wolders. But Geoff Capes never gives up, and he's really threatening the Dutchman's second place.
Well, behind the scenes, you're one of the best statisticians in the business.
Yeah.
How do you rate your chances now of retaining the title?
Well, although, I'm pretty good with figures, I've made a couple of mistakes. And the first mistake was losing the lorry pull. And that was very important, and it was a very important loss in terms of position. I lost 2 points. At this stage of the competition, I am now 2 points behind Ab Wolders. I don't think we can catch Jon-Pall, but I needed those 2 points. And, but there again, we got another event to go, one more event, and anything else can go wrong. It could go wrong for me, but I hope, not really, it will go wrong for him.
And now we come to the final event of this World Championship, and for the first time we've got man-to-man combat between 8 of the greatest strongmen on Earth. And they're using this strange piece of apparatus for the test. It's a test that many of us lesser men may have tried from time to time in our lives, but not to this level. So stand by for some real excitement with the arm wrestling.
And although he hasn't done well in the competition, the former Canadian arm wrestling champion Daniel Poulin must be highly fancied in this event as Kuester and Gustavsson take up their positions.
Take the straight.
Go.
Well, a quite amazing performance from both men there. That bout took just over a minute, which I think that Rudi's throat was as sore as his arm. And now we move on to the first semi-final. Daniel Poulin versus Ab Wolders. The 32-year-old French-Canadian from Saint-Simon, Quebec, is an arm wrestling champion, so Wolders is really up against a lot of experience.
Let's go.
Keep their elbows in those cups. there desperately shouting encouragement.
Five seconds.
And the ref warns Ab about keeping his wrist in the correct position.
Sorry, you're disqualified for failing to get your wrist back within the 5 seconds.
And the ref stops it. There are very strict rules in this event.
Sorry.
So Daniel Poulin is the winner
Yes,
and goes to the final. And so to the second semi-final, the showdown between Geoff Capes, the reigning title holder, and the heir apparent Jon-Pall Sigmarsson. A man-to-man battle of the giants.
That one over. That's it.
Is the elbow on the top over there?
Just a show.
Over there.
Hang on,
Is
let's
elbow
sort the top out.
the top?
You're
Yeah,
very
okay.
close to the head.
And the ref there double-checking their positions.
Are you pushing my fingers, right?
I must see one. I must see one.
Geoff not happy with the way the referee was adjusting the grip there, but these are tense moments for the Englishman. The rules are very strict.
That's better. Wait for the go. Both of you. Right. Take the strain. Go!
Seems good for Geoff. But just look at that power, and Geoff's hurt. The king has lost his crown, roars Jon-Pall in his moment of victory. But Geoff gave a shout of absolute agony at the end of the bout. What exactly happened?
I had the muscle tear in the forearm, literally just, you know, you can hear it. Like a dull tear. But, you know, I felt he was turning before, but never mind, I couldn't hold him anyway.
So it's Daniel Poulin versus Jon-Pall Sigmarsson for the final.
You and I take a match?
No, he gives up. You win.
But no, it seems that Jon-Pall is also injured, and he's conceding this event to Daniel Poulin.
Okay, so you are the winner.
So even Sigmarsson is feeling the pain after 2 days of hard competition, which means that Daniel Poulin gets maximum points. But yet another second place for Jon-Pall was more than enough to make him the new title holder. Jon-Pall, congratulations on being the world's strongest man.
Thank you.
How do you feel at this moment?
I am, like we say in Iceland, I am in seventh heaven.
It's always been an ambition of yours?
To be world's strongest man? Yes, since I was about 5 years old. I said to my brother, one day I'm going to be the world's strongest man. And of course he made a laugh of me.
He didn't believe you?
No.
They'll have to believe it now.
Yes.
So the final scoreboard tells the story. Geoff Capes, the old campaigner, beaten at last by the power of Dutchman Ab Wolders and by the superb Jon-Pall Sigmarsson, who never finished any event lower than third. The celebrations are already underway as Mr. Louis Hoogeveen, the Managing Director, International Division DAF Trucks, presents the trophy to this important Icelander, Jon-Pall Sigmarsson, the world's strongest man.
Body language. Body language. Body language. Body language. Body language.
I'll be back.